Well, the speech that you're going to hear from me tonight is a speech about that is called, or it has the name, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and My Vision for the Future. It is basically a short kind of Reader's Digest of what has happened in my life, and I'm going to take something that happened that was bad and turn it into something good. I was actually born and raised here in Thousand Oaks. Went to high school across the street and graduated from there, and then went to UC Santa Barbara for my undergrad and was there for 4 years, and then got a degree in business, came back to Thousand Oaks and got a job as a loan officer. I did that for a period of 2 years, and it was a good job, good income, all that kind of stuff, but the thing was, really wasn't fulfilling me. It wasn't what I wanted to do for the remainder of my career. So I made the decision to quit, much to my parents' dismay, and I moved to San Diego, and I got a job selling vacuum cleaners, Kirby vacuum cleaners, and the reason was because I wanted to actually see the world. So I did that for 6 months and saved enough money that I could start traveling, and I moved to Australia. I actually lived in Australia for a year, and I did jobs like, I sold vacuum cleaners. I worked on a fishing boat for 2.5 months off the Great Barrier Reef. I worked in a farm in the outback of Australia. I did motorcycle delivery there as well. So I lived there for just over a year, some of that illegal, but had a chance to really see the country and really get to know the people. I decided not to use my return trip back to the United States, but started heading off through Asia. I spent another 1.5 years actually traveling first through Asia and then going to Europe and spending another 6 months in Europe. I did whatever I had to do to survive. I taught English, I worked in bars, whatever it took. I never had very much money, but I always had enough to get to the next place. I lived in places like the Philippines, Hong Kong, Singapore, was an English teacher over there, was an English teacher in Italy, and sold vacuum cleaners again in London. I then came back to the United States after being gone for 2.5 years and decided it was time to go to graduate school. Went to graduate school, finished, and got a job with a little company you may have heard of called AT&T. Anybody familiar with that company? And then over a period of time was able to move up the ladder and get into a job, which is what I really wanted to do, was get a job where I got paid good money and got to travel. The last job I had with them was actually Vice President of Mergers and Acquisitions for Asia. So I literally got paid to travel. I then went into the hospital for what was supposed to be a very routine operation to get my tonsils taken out. My wife at the time was having problems sleeping because of how loud I was snoring. At that time, the surgeon made a series of mistakes and severed 3 out of 4 of my carotid arteries. I bled out, had a massive stroke, was put into a coma, and had a feeding tube for a year, and spent about 5 years actually as a third kid. I was newly married. We had a 2-year-old that was newly diagnosed with autism. We had a 9-month-old baby girl, and now I come home from the hospital after 3 months in the rehab hospital and can't walk, talk, eat, write, any of the above. I then went for about a period of about 5 years. I said it's the third kid, but it was a time when I didn't have any hope for the future. I felt like my productive life was over, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. I then actually started to think of it as how could I take something really negative that had happened to me and turn it into a real plus. And I started then to have a vision for my future. My vision is to actually help others that have had strokes or head traumas or have been through a life-changing event, that they've really had to reevaluate what they're going to do with the rest of their life, and to give them hope. Because that's what happens is so many people lose hope. And what I want to do is actually tell them that there is a future, that they can have a productive life, that they can make a difference in this world, and that we all can. And that's one of the things I want to actually leave with all of you here today is we can all make a difference. Whether we do it in our job, whether we do it in our church, whether we do it in our communities, whether we do it locally or globally, We all should be trying to make a difference in this world. And the more that we can do that, the more that we can make a difference, the more that we can reach out to people and change lives, the better this world can be. So thank you.